Hi, everyone. Welcome. As you are joining, if you can please put your degree program in the chat, just so we have an idea of who's here today. Thank you so much for turning on your cameras. If you are able to do so, we really appreciate it. And we're just letting a few more folks in before we get started. Again, let us know in the chat if you are, thank you, Lynn, environmental, any community health policy. Awesome. Oh, there's more people. All right, so we're going to get started here. Welcome, everyone. My name is Maya Lloyd. I am the Student Career Program Manager for the Office of Career Services. I'm sure I've met with a few of you folks already. So today we are going to learn more about an internship opportunity with the New York City Public Engagement Unit. So we're going to learn about the application process. When you need to apply, we're going to hear from a current intern about their experience. So any questions you may have, you can put those in the chat, or you can also wait until we have Q&A to come off mute. Again, we do recommend or suggest that you turn on your camera. It's definitely a best practice, especially if you're interested in applying for the position, so we can see your wonderful faces. So if you are able to do so, please turn on your cameras. You'll also receive a post-event email with a link to the application and a link to the PU website so you can learn more about the opportunity. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to our presenters.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here. This is really exciting to have the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Kristen Grennan. I'm the Director of Communications at the Mayor's Public Engagement Unit. We will be delving today into a lot more about PEU. So with that, I'll just pass it to my colleague to introduce herself as well before we start.
Hi, everyone. We're so happy to have you all join us today. My name is Bisma Rahman. I'm a communications intern at PEU. Just like you all, I'm also once a CUNY public school of public health student. I have graduated in 2024, and now I'm interning at PEU.
Great. So today we'll be going over a bit about PEU and the different teams that we have, and then we will dive into a bit more about the internship specifically, and Bisma will be able to talk a bit about her experience, and we might have also the ability for someone else to join. She's actually working in the field right now, and if she's able to join, CMR will also talk about her experience as an intern. So first, we're going to just kick it off with a short video, a little bit about PEU.
PEU is different than a lot of other agencies because our model is to go out actively and engage people in the community. We have a tenant support team, a housing support team, a get covered healthcare team, and a special projects team. Teams work across all of the different resources that New Yorkers need. We help people get access to healthcare. We help them address issues that they're facing with their landlord, and we even help people connect services when they're facing eviction.
We're here to help New Yorkers navigate the complex bureaucracy that exists and that prevents them from accessing benefits.
The core work to do is making sure that New Yorkers, whether they've been here a month, a year, or 50 years, understand the services that are available to them. Most New Yorkers aren't aware that there are over 70 programs out there, 70 programs that people may be eligible for.
I remember assisting a caller, and she was just so appreciative and thankful about services because she wouldn't have known how to navigate and do the research that we were able to do for her.
To educate folks, I answer their questions for them. I try to make them as comfortable as possible to let them know that these are the things that we have implemented in place for you, and we can, in fact, assist you.
We were founded in the belief that every New Yorker should have access to the benefits that they need, and we have to ensure that they know about the resources and benefits that exist. Our specialists speak many languages, and they are here to help you access the services and benefits that are available to New Yorkers, regardless of their immigration status.
I like the work that I do. I like the people that I work with, and I'm proud of that.
We might be called the Mayor's Public Engagement Unit.
but we belong to all New Yorkers.
Okay, so that was like a really good high level overview of just what is PEU generally. So to kind of dig in a little more, the Public Engagement Unit was created in 2015 to develop a new model for government outreach using community organizing principles to provide services for New York City communities. Rather than expecting constituents to navigate complex city bureaucracy to get the help that they need, PEU adopts grassroots tactics to meet residents where they are, whether it's at their doors, on their phone, on their social media feed, or in their community. We combine this proactive outreach with comprehensive case management to provide New Yorkers with personalized, one-on-one, in-depth assistance. Our mission is to identify underserved New Yorkers using our innovative outreach tactics and tools and provide them with hands-on support in accessing those critical benefits and services. And our vision is through proactive outreach and personalized support, we ensure that underserved New Yorkers are aware of and can easily access the critical benefits they need to thrive. In doing so, we build New Yorkers' trust in city government. So what are outreach strategies? What are these innovative tools that we're using? So just like in an election campaign, we are using those tactics and techniques that you use in, typical outreach strategies and bringing it to government, which especially like starting in 2015 was a very innovative tool and tactic. So we use phone banking, where we reach New Yorkers in zip codes that might have a high need for SNAP. We'll call and talk about SNAP benefits, or we might do a text message campaign to New Yorkers who live in a zip code where there's low enrollment in health insurance, and we will give them information about enrolling in health insurance or attending an event that we have coming up about health insurance enrollment. We also do social media campaigns and provide toolkits for campaigns with our partners. We work with community and ethnic media in many languages. Our staff do speak more than 20 languages, and we do all of our materials are printed in more than 10 languages. We do door-to-door canvassing, and we also work strategically with our partners and other city agencies, elected officials, and community-based organizations.
So we are located all over New York City. We are located in Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Harlem. But the main office that COMS works at is 253 Broadway, and that is near City Hall. And a good one to also know is 260 11th Avenue near Hudson Yards. That's where most of the Get Covered New York City team and HSU team and TSU teams, they all work there as well. Where do all of our clients live? Well, they live all over New York City. We try to make sure we reach every block, every borough, every New Yorker, because to make sure they receive the resources and the benefits that they need. And if you see the little green box at the bottom, PEU, that's where we are. That's where we sit in the city government. We work closely with the Human Resources Administration, HRA, and we also work closely with the Chief Engagement Officer.
So who is PEU? I know we've thrown out some acronyms and we'll kind of dive into each of the different teams. So the structure of the Public Engagement Unit is we have 4 primary outreach teams. They are our Home Support Unit, Tenant Support Unit, Get Covered, and Special Projects teams. And then we have support teams that support the outreach work that PEU does. And under the support teams part of the support teams includes the communications team. So our work is to elevate the outreach work being done by HSU, TSU, Get Covered, and the Special Projects team.
The Tenant Support Unit helps New Yorkers maintain safe and stable housing by providing assistance to tenants experiencing eviction, landlord harassment, repair issues, and more. Specialists conduct proactive outreach all over New York City to connect New Yorkers with benefit programs, legal assistance, and community resources. We want to make sure that tenants know the rights that they have to stay in their houses safely and in stability.
When I was 7 years old, I had actually come home from school one day to find that my family was actually being evicted from our home. At that time, I didn't really understand what was going on. All I could really understand was seeing my own clothing, my own furniture, my own mattress on the floor outside on the curb. It really changed things for me that day. I oftentimes think that that's actually the end of my childhood. That was the day when I started realizing how things really were in the world. My name is Ariel Miranda. I'm an Inwood resident, and I'm also a tennis sports specialist. When I was a kid and I experienced that really terrible situation that I got put in, it made me really aware of things from a very young age. And when I was given the opportunity to try and come into this office, it really made me feel passionate about the work that this office would do. People are constantly worried that they're not going to be able to stay in the community that they've grown up in. I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to try and assure the people here in this community that there are services that can help them. When we go out into the community, we're going door to door, knocking on every single door that we're passing by, talking to people about what's actually available for them if they need assistance. Me coming from this community and being able to speak the language that a large majority of this community speaks is very helpful, especially for historically underserved communities like Inwood here. It's definitely been needed to help them better understand what is available, because oftentimes they've sort of felt as they couldn't really connect with as many people. And that's something that I feel is very important, very needed here.
And a little bit about our home support unit. So similar, but also very different from our tenant support unit. Our home support unit works to find permanent housing for New Yorkers in shelter. And the strategy that we use with the home support unit is actually working with homeowners and brokers to house folks with vouchers. Often the lease-up process can be really onerous and complex for homeowners and brokers, and that can sometimes for most of the clients that we work with, that has been a really major sticking point. So we actually help with making that process much smoother, much quicker, so that more people with vouchers have a better chance of getting permanent housing, moving them from shelter to stable housing. And our special projects team.
So our special project teams provides added capacity to PU's other outreach teams while remaining flexible enough to take on new projects in response to emergencies and city priorities. With the addition of dedicated SPT outreach teams, we will expand our work to provide New Yorkers with comprehensive benefit screenings. So the comms team sometimes does work with other teams to on several initiatives that they have. We actually worked with the special projects team on updating our PEU website with the Fair Fare updates. So here and there, we do work with the other teams.
And it just so, in case folks don't know, Fair Fares is reduced price Metro cards for qualifying low-income New Yorkers. And for Get Covered NYC, they conduct proactive outreach to identify uninsured New Yorkers and help them enroll in health insurance and other health benefits. Our specialists provide free assistance throughout the enrollment process to any New Yorker seeking to enroll in health insurance, regardless of immigration status or income. And they can also help if you have questions about how to utilize your health insurance. So a bit about what PEU Communications does. We help build PEU's brand and support our outreach by working with our social media accounts, designing materials like flyers, running ad campaigns, connecting with other city agencies, and organizing press outreach and events. Here, what I think of when I think of PEU comms, I think of three major buckets: press, digital, and print. So press is really working with media outlets, whether that's New York One. We also work with hundreds of community and ethnic media outlets across the city. So those are sort of micro outlets that work with specific language communities or neighborhood communities. And then we also obviously provide support to our staff in speaking publicly, speaking with the press. So that's a big part of the work that we do. And then we also have a big digital media presence. So whether that's social media, we have a website, we have a monthly newsletter, we show ads on Link NYCs across the city. And then our other major bucket is is print media. So that's flyers, palm cards, bus shelter ads are in print. So we kind of work across the whole spectrum of marketing and communications at PEU. And just to share with you some of our personal goals, every January, our team comes together, including with our interns, and we come up with goals for the year. So these goals were established by the entire comms team at PEU. So firstly, to maintain consistent and sustainable speaking and media opportunities, to maintain a consistent and sustainable digital presence, model positive communication practices to improve work culture, data reporting, and team training.
So now, I'm going to talk about the press portion of PEU. We track different, we work with different outlets such as New York One, Fox News. They attend our events, and we have a lot of content that we post on Monday, all the press releases. And this is an example of one of the press that has attended our Benefits on Your Block event.
Mayor Adams in the crowd, initially making an appearance at the Benefits on Your Block event, also set up in the same area where people from the community can learn about what's available to them as New Yorkers.
Enjoying being out, benefits on our block. What we're finding is that far too often we have so many benefits. How you doing, Larry? Good to see you. Good to see you. Far too often we have so many benefits that people are not aware of.
New York City and all things Harlem embraced on this Saturday. From children to adults enjoying fun and entertainment right in the Harlem community on the streets of NYC. Stephanie Bertini, Good Day New York.
Well, it is considered.
And this is something we've been working on really, we've been working on really conscientiously, the client stories. So basically, HSU, Home Support Unit, Tenant Support Unit, Gut Covered New York City, our different units, they work with clients on several issues that they have. Like, for instance, they're unable to get health insurance, they're unable to get
Oh, I think we lost Bisma. Well, I think she was just going to highlight that we've been highlighting client stories, and she had one example she wanted me to share with you guys too. So here's an example from our LinkedIn of a story that we shared.
Last year, I lost my wife. It was the hardest time for my daughter and me. We were both on health insurance through the city, but it ended a few months ago. My daughter has disabilities and needs several medications. Paying out of pocket was impossible. I ran out of money. Then I met a Get Covered NYC specialist from the public engagement unit in my neighborhood. They gave me coupons so we could afford her medications, helped me complete Medicaid forms, and scheduled appointments to get her immediate coverage and evaluated for disability benefits. Thanks to this support, my daughter now has Medicaid and access to programs like adult daycare. In a time when I felt completely alone, someone showed up and stood with me. That made all the difference. From a devoted father.
Okay, so basically we work with, we basically collect all the stories from the Monday board that HSU, TSU, and Get Covered New York City post. And we, every week we present it in our comms teams meeting. And it's a whole process where we, when we present these stories, they have to be approved by the outreach director if we can use these stories on social media. And if we can post these stories on social media. And once we get the approval from the outreach director, we contact the specialist who work with these clients for And we basically then either the specialist contacts the client or we contact the client and we ask about their experience. And we also ask what they have been going through. And once they share their experience, we just ask if they would like to if they're okay if to share their story on social media, like if we can get permission to share their story on social media. And if they approve and they say yes, then we go ahead and we draft a social media post to share, presenting their stories. And the next part of our presentation is on social media. So PEU basically works really hard on maintaining our social media page and connecting with different parts of New York City. So we try to, our Instagram page is the Mayor's Public Engagement Unit, Mayor's PEU. So if you'd like to check that out, you'll see a lot of the posts that we posted on here over there. I'm just going to give you an example of some of the posts that we post on there. You can see in the corner, we have an open call for the 2025 Public Artist in Residence. We share we work collaboratively with other New York City organizations, such as New York City Culture, New York Culture, and we share collaborative posts and we work with other agencies. And we share information on upcoming events, such as the benefits on your block that you can see right next to the Public Artist in Resident post. We share what's going on in what we're working on and what events that we're holding. We also post photos of outreaches that we attended and clients that we worked with, and after getting their permission. And you can see over here that we joined the Mets to bring city resources straight to New Yorkers, from rent freeze to SNAP. And that's just a post of our special projects team working in the community to bring these resources to New Yorkers. And we also post, if we're having any panels or if we are participating in something, we post about that too, such as SXSW. We're going to be speaking on a panel on there next year. And we also have we also post, we try to recognize and celebrate the differences within our community and make sure all New Yorkers are heard and recognized. So we post about different holidays, and we also create these staff recognition videos, such as the Immigrant Heritage Month video. You can see that in the corner, that this is a post that we're wishing a happy Immigrant Heritage Month to all New Yorkers, but we're also presenting some videos that reflect these recognitions. That PEU Comms uses. These include, there's so many that we use on a daily basis, such as Hootsuite for tracking social media analytics and scheduling social media posts. There's also Slack that we use quick to communicate with other PEU staff members very quickly. But we also have New York City Digi Slack, where we communicate with other social media managers across city government and other city agencies. We also have Outlook email, which we use to communicate outside of PEU, and also we get our updates on city events and other events that city agencies are holding through that platform. We also use Google Drive to manage our files, our documents, our slides. And then we have our Monday.com board for project planning and task management. And we also have Adobe for editing and Canva for editing our videos and graphics.
So a little bit about the communications intern role. We're seeking 2 communications interns. They would beginning starting of winter 2026. Our interns will work 20 to 34 hours a week. It's a hybrid structure with at least 2 days in the PEU office at 253 Broadway, and the other hours can either be remote or also coming into the office is welcome as well. We also might ask interns to support our events across all 5 boroughs. As Bisma said, we work in all 5 boroughs and have events across the city. So it's great if interns are able to join and see our staff in the field and in action. Interns will also receive ongoing training, hands-on experience, and the opportunity to develop strong professional skills while supporting PEU's communications director, that's me, and our outreach teams. Here is a potpourri of some roles and responsibilities. You'll see more on Handshake, and basically these are just some of the tasks that might be asked of an intern, and we also do tailor the internship experience to everyone's strengths and interests. So for example, the first one is drafting and managing social media content. Maybe one intern is really strong in that area and the other intern is less interested in that area. So then the one intern might take on that role. So we do tailor the experience based on the interns and the cohort that we have that year. We also ask interns have the opportunity to design communication materials like graphics, flyers, and social media content, supporting with press and social media work by writing press releases and statements, talking points. We also track the news and events, so monitoring what's coming out in the news and what's relevant to housing and healthcare policy, researching community events, community influencers, anyone we should maybe be promoting our events, or maybe we need to be at a certain panel. And also we collaborate very much across teams. So working with me, other comms folks, other outreach staff, and then even other city and community partners. So what kind of skills and experience are we looking for? Very strong written and verbal communication skills. That is essential for a communications intern. So please make sure you're putting your best foot forward in your materials, your resume, your cover letter. If you have a writing sample, please make sure that all of those show you have a strong writing and speaking skills. Ability to manage multiple tasks in a fast-paced environment is also very essential here. An eagerness to learn, adapt, and problem solve. Frequently, we have to completely change our priorities. We're working on X, and now all of a sudden, X is not a priority anymore. We're doing Y. So someone who's able to really adapt quickly and move on to something new is a really strong asset. If you have experience in social media with a professional or an organizational setting, please be sure to include that on your resume, and that can include things like working on WhatsApp for your local church. It could be managing your social media for your sorority. So, please do include that kind of stuff. We are looking for that in an application. If you have any graphic design, video, or photography skills, that is excellent. Please also be sure to include that on your resume. It's not required, but it's an asset. And then, of course, multilingual applicants are strongly encouraged to apply, and please do highlight if you speak, read, or write in other languages on your resume and your level of proficiency. I also want to note that Bisma mentioned some of the programs that we use here at PU. If you have experience with any of those, you should be sure to include those as well on your resume so that we're aware. We will train everyone to learn all of the programs, of course, but if you already have experience with those programs, that's always an asset. So the timeline. The application window is now open. It just opened today, and they will be open until the end of September. So you have some time to get your materials together. It's a cover letter, resume, if you have a writing sample, and also sharing with us references. And then we plan to conduct interviews in October, and we hope to make offers sometime in early November. And the start date would be December or January, depending on some scheduling and other priorities. So if you also have a preference in when you start, we can discuss that in the interview process. You don't necessarily need to put that in your cover letter. So I'll pass it to Bisma.
So here, I wanted to reflect on my experience at PEU as an intern. I believe that I started in December. My first day was December 2nd, 2024, and I have loved it ever since. I love helping the different New Yorkers and connecting them to different resources, and I feel like being on the communications team really allowed me to do that. We have weekly meetings where we present the work that we did, and we also talk about the stories that we collected. But we also have like weekly tasks that we work on. So for me right now, I'm working on, collecting the social media analytics every week, updating City Hall on how we work with different agencies. I also get projects here and there, such as I mentioned earlier, we got a project where we worked with the special projects team on updating the website on fair fares updates. We worked with, I remember getting a project where we were drafting the tenant bill of rights for the tenant support unit. And we were also working on like different things such as conducting research for potential panels, etc. And then we also have we also have here and there are also outreaches that we can attend, and we can collect content for social media, such as take pictures, photography, and also ask different clients and people attending those events about their experiences and their what they are looking for when they attend these events. So it's an eclectic mix of work that we do, but the main thing that we are trying to do is connect New Yorkers with the resources that they need. And we do that by also working with other agencies as well as the other teams at PEU. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask me right now, or you can contact my email as well, which is listed on there, Rahman, RAHMANB @hra.newyorkcity.gov. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to tell me.
Yeah, we'd love to open the floor now for any questions folks may have. I know it was a lot of information, so we're happy to answer any questions now. And also our website is nyc.gov/PEU. But yeah, love to answer any questions anyone might have.
So I see a few questions in our meeting chat, so I'm just gonna look through there and answer them. So this probably is how is working and managing your workload. So for me, I feel like we have a good schedule where we have kind of like a hybrid schedule. So we work remotely, but we also work in office at 253 Broadway. And sometimes we do have to come in for events, like if we're attending any panels or meetings or outreaches. I felt like I was able to manage it really well. I think we have everything organized really well on the Monday.com board, on Slack, on Teams. And I felt like everyone understands each other and works together. And I feel like that made it really easier for me to manage everything. But yeah, Kristen, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I can answer for that question in particular too. If I want to just note, if you are an internship with us, or I think any internship, of course, like please flag for your supervisor, which would be me, if the workload is becoming unmanageable, if you need support, we are here for you. And I actually go to school at night myself, so I know how hard it is to juggle both. I'm in law school at night right now. So, and school is always my number one priority. But work is a very high priority as well. So, we can work together to make sure that everyone has the support that they need. For the question about how long the internship is, it'll be for 1 semester. And then there might be a possibility to extend. We'll do another hiring cycle, and folks will be invited to reapply if they're interested. Is it paid? Yes, it is a paid internship. I don't know, Maya, if you know what the pay rate is. If not, we can circle back, or it might be on the posting.
Yeah, the rate is on the posting on Handshake, so you all can check it out there.
Perfect, thank you. Someone asked about references. I'm not sure exactly if I know what you mean, but I would say, and I'm not familiar with Handshake myself, but if there isn't some way to insert references, you can just include that on your cover letter. But please include references if possible. This question might be for Bisma or Maya. Are most students in the internship part-time or full-time students?
Well, I graduated, but I know there are people on our team that were students or are students and doing the internship. I know it can work for both part-time and full-time students. So I've seen both, um but
I
yeah.
think so as well. I think at least 2 of our interns have been full-time students, and um, thankfully your program is very supportive of working outside of work and getting experience, and with a lot of asynchronous courses and things like that. So it has worked well um, in the past for us. Um, Someone asked about a digital portfolio of your work samples. That would be great to include. Um, so please, include that on your application. We would love to see that. Um, Someone asked about our healthcare program and immigration status. So we have our folks on our team are really looped in on everything going on in policy at the federal and state and city level. And so we are constantly giving our clients, we call New Yorkers our clients, because we really like to give a real customer service experience for every New Yorker. And so, we keep them up to date. If folks call and ask questions, we're always prepared to answer those questions. We often give information sessions on those questions. And there are programs available even regardless of immigration status. For example, NYC Care is available to any New Yorker who doesn't have access to traditional insurance options. Someone asked if it's possible to volunteer if they aren't selected for the internship. I've never had that question before. I don't know, to be honest. We haven't thought about that. So, maybe put it on your application and we will think about it. I've never had someone propose that. So I love that though. Thank you. Okay, I think I got to the top. Now I'm scrolling back to the bottom. So references, yes, that would be if you have your letter of recommendation ready, that works. Usually I like to sometimes for finalist candidates, sometimes we'll call their references to speak to them, but it's always helpful to include a letter of recommendation ahead of time if you have that handy. I welcome that. Both professional and academic references are acceptable and great. I think maybe, having one professional, at least one professional reference is really an asset, I would say. So, maybe a combination of the two, or maybe if you have a professor that you've worked really closely with, outside of the classroom setting could also be an asset. Someone asks, I have a background in medicine. Can I still apply if most of my experience is volunteer experience? Yes. Everyone's a student and learning, and that's why you're in this program. So, like I mentioned, sort of a good example is the social media thing. Ciamara, who did text me, she can't join us today. She's still in the field at an event, but it wasn't on her resume. But while talking to her in the interview, I was able to tease out that she is the WhatsApp manager for her church, and she, posts flyers and makes the flyers for her church in Spanish. And it wasn't on her resume. And I remember saying, "Why is this not on your resume? This is a communications job. Like, this is communications. You are literally the communications director for your church, basically." And I'm so glad that I teased that out in the interview. So, things like that, that are communications related work, please do include that. Think about if you make, flyers for your e-board that you're on, or you're managing the social media for an event that you put on, or maybe you put on an event. That kind of volunteer experience is welcome. Maybe this is helpful tip, but and maybe controversial in the certain career services world, but you can make, I'm okay with resumes that are longer than a page. So please feel free if you're like, maybe the first page is your like typical, well, actually, for the first page should be communications experience related work that you have, and that can be volunteer experience as well. So I would always put that at the top. Sometimes I've found with this program particularly, the first page will be a lot of your health related experience, which is really important and helpful. Public health is in every area of the work that we do, including housing. But I would actually put your communications volunteer work at the top if you have any. Whatever you think is the most relevant, I would put that at the top. A lot of times I find that in a volunteer section on the second page, and you may like, I do look at everything you submit, but not all folks do, and so you don't want to bury the lead, as we say in communications. So put it right at the top. But and do please put that kind of stuff. Okay, and I think we've gone through the questions in the chat. I also do want to note, it wasn't directly asked, but my understanding is all immigration statuses can apply if you're enrolled. My understanding is unless there's some reason with maybe your visa that you can't work, but I'm pretty sure all students are able to. So, you know, there's no restriction on immigration status or anything like that, at least not on our end. Oh, and so the internship is for a semester, and then with the possibility of extending, we'll have an open application again after.
Just waiting to see if anyone else has any other questions. Going once, going twice. Well, this was great. Thank you so much, Kristen and Bisma. Tina, do you want to introduce yourself really quickly? You're here.
Hi, Kristen and Bisma. Thank you so much for giving such a great info session. And for the new students to CUNY SPH and for the returning students, welcome to a new fall semester. I'm Tina Lynn. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the CUNY SPH career coach. And PEU is one of my favorite internships. I have worked with a bunch of the interns that have only great things to say about this opportunity. So if I can be of any support in getting your resume ready or prepping for the interviews, please set up use Handshake to schedule an appointment, and I look forward to working together with you. And thank you again to Bisma and Kristen. Glad to finally see you, Kristen. I've heard your name so many times. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tina. And maybe just to echo one small thing Tina said that made me realize we didn't mention in the presentation, but one thing that is really important to me is everyone who comes through PEU Comms' door is like family to us, and we have a bit of our own little alumni network. We really support, I still am a reference for many interns who have come through my door for several years now, and we every year at least have a meetup. So it's an internship, but it really is, you know, we're here to support the person that comes, and we're here to make sure that, you know, for your next steps after the internship, that we try to support as well by helping with resumes, passing around your resume, being a reference. So, you know, we are, it's like a little work family. So we really look forward to whoever is joining us next year.
Great. Thanks so much, Kristen. We really appreciate it. You will get a post-event email afterwards, just with the information that was reviewed here today and a link to the Handshake posting. As Kristen mentioned, the applications are open now, so you can go to Handshake and apply, but please read the instructions carefully. You are not applying directly on Handshake. You are sending your materials to the email that is in the application instructions, okay? So just make sure you do that. Make sure, again, you're reading the description carefully. Make sure that your materials are relevant to the position, as Kristen was mentioning. Again, you know, really hype yourself up, right, in your materials, okay? So thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope that you take advantage of this opportunity. So have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you so
everyone. Have a
much.
great day.
This was great.
Thank you.